Muy buenos dias. It's really good to be with you today and to be able to bring you a topic that most of you have probably never even touched upon. And that is, what's it like to be stuck in between two societies, two cultures? Today, I'm bringing you Arizona.
It was a very prejudiced environment because me and the rest of my family were Spanish, and a lot of people weren't adapted to having a lot of Spanish people in the area.
Now, when you say Spanish, just so everybody knows,
Mexicans. Considered Mexican, Spanish, Americans.
Speaking Spanish.
That's correct. And there was a lot of prejudice in that little town. It was very hard. It was hard to speak English and Spanish at the same time as going to junior high, high school, and middle school. It was very difficult.
When I first saw you, I thought, this guy is from a Mexican tribe. In other words, what a lot of people would call an Indian tribe. Not from the U.S., but a tribe of Indians down in the heart of Mexico.
Yes, that's correct also, because there were a lot of Indian tribes in the town. There were many tribes. The Havasupais, the Navajos, and there was a lot of mixed cultures there.
Your mother, though, you told me, was white.
Yes. She's a Caucasian. She was from California.
And your father?
He was from...
well, he was Mexican, really. I mean,
Yes, his parents were from Aguascalientes, Mexico.
Yeah, okay, so on one hand, your father was a Mexican-American, spoke Spanish, and did he speak English also?
Yes, he did speak English, but he mostly spoke Spanish. And I said his parents were from Aguascalientes, Mexico.
Oh, Aguascalientes?
Yes, that's correct. And they came from Mexico because they came to America to avoid the Pancho Villa era, because it was very it was a lot of killing going on over there, and they wanted to avoid the Pancho Villa revolution. That's why they all moved down to Arizona.
How did your mother and your father meet?
My father, he was a woman's man. He just fell in love with this woman, and it didn't go so well, and they divorced, and she left.
Out of that marriage, and what you seem to be calling a careless relationship, came you and your brother. Now, I know that your brother has died just pretty recently, and your father also died fairly recently, but I mean, there's really a lot that was going on in that little town. You might think there's not anything there, but actually, as I understand you, there was a lot going on because there was a lot of conflict. If there wasn't much of anything else, there was that. You faced some prejudice from the Indians. Let's just refer to Native Americans as Indians, even though you also come from a Native American tribe in Mexico.
Yes, we have, as you can consider, Aztec blood. We have Aztec ancestry. But as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot to consider living in a small town when you come into another person's home. Your
mother was white, and you say that some of the people how did the Indians treat you, and what did they consider you?
Knowing the Indian tribes, and I as being a Mexican American, we got along quite well. We were like in the same boat, living in that small town.
You told me that they would often tell you, or a certain tribe, let's not name the tribe, but would let you know they just hated you.
A lot of the Indian tribes were under a lot of attack from the white people, and a lot of the tribes just didn't like the idea of being around American people for what had happened in the past. And there was a lot of conflict, a lot of prejudice over there.
So you ran into situations that were truly hateful from people who were prejudiced toward the white man, but they were prejudiced toward you because you have some white blood in you.
That's correct. Like I said, as I was going to school, it was just a lot of conflict. A lot of people just weren't used to seeing so many different cultures. At one time, I liked a white girl, and I was told never to come on her property. The girl used to tell me, "Don't come on my property because my dad does not like Mexicans." She specifically told me that. I'll never forget that. That was a very hardship. That will sink right into your mind. That can really stir up your thinking. So I've been through particularly that, being told not to step on one's property. And that was a very difficult situation. And another situation, and this second example is regarding hardships. These hardships you never forget, and I tried to forget them, but they're just all lessons learned. As I was telling you, the second hardship that I ever experienced, I'll never forget, is when I went to an establishment and an American put his hands on my hair and made me get on my knees. And he made me beg to get up. I was told, "You're Mexican, I don't like you. You're going to have to beg me to let your hair go and let you get up." Now, I experienced all that.
And what did you do?
I had to beg. I had to beg, and I knew I had to beg, and he made me beg. And now that really puts a lot of hate in you, and I experienced it. Now, my brother, he experienced a lot of prejudice. A lot of people hated him because he was American.
Part American.
He was
that is part Caucasian is what you're saying.
What I'm trying to tell you, he was an American, and he was half Mexican and half American, and he had a lot of prejudice he had to face. He got into a lot of physical brawls because of his race, and he had to learn how to fight to fight him off. And I think my brother had the worst of it, other than myself.
All of this is very foggy. You say he got into brawls. I mean, what?
Well, if the Indians who were your friends and they were drinking, they would beat you up. It happened to me. It happened to my brother. And when they were drinking, they beat you. My brother got beat. I got beat, and I experienced the prejudice. And when he experiences physical pain, it teaches you how to hate. But that's one reason why I didn't want to deal with it no more. That's why I moved away out of it.
So this prejudice thing and the suffering is not all behind you. You still hide the language to a large extent. Have you recently experienced bad treatment from anyone?
As of today at work, I make an effort to let many people know at work that I'm not even American Spanish, because if I talk that I'm American Spanish, I'll get that treatment.
You really do?
Yes. So when I meet people, I don't tell them I'm Spanish because when I don't tell them I'm Spanish, I'll hear all the negativism about being Mexican or Indian or Chinese. If I speak that language, then I'll hear more of it. So it's best I don't speak nothing.
You told me that you grew up with English and Spanish. How did you do that in the home?
That was very difficult because in our home, it was all total Spanish. And when I went to the American schools, it was hard to read English and write English because I was so used to listening to Spanish. So it was very difficult to comprehend all the lessons and all the studies. And when it came to being tutored in my own home, a lot of my family didn't understand English that well and to read it that well, and didn't have a lot of knowledge and education. The Indians, I think they had a little bit harder.
You do?
Yeah, I believe the Indians just didn't want to socialize with the Americans over there too well.
You said that they would come up to you and just say, "I hate you."
Oh, that's correct. There's just a lot of hardship.